Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 443. I'm Phil Graham. I've got an important episode for you guys today. We're going to be talking about why people scroll past your Facebook and Instagram ads and they just skip it. It's like they're blind to your ads. We're going to talk about why they do that and, more importantly, how you can try and stop it. Welcome to November, my friends. November 4th. I cannot believe it. This starts the primetime Super Bowl-like season for shopping. And even if you're not e-commerce, because obviously it's a no-brainer, biggest time of the year for e-commerce, but even if you're not e-commerce, it's an amazing time to be advertising, whether you have a product, service, whether you're a local business, whatever the case may be. So I love this time of year. It's almost Thanksgiving. It's almost the Christmas season, and I hope you guys are enjoying it and planning for it as well as it relates to your ads. So if people are scrolling right past your ads and it's not really getting their attention, it's not just about who you're targeting, although sometimes it could be, but many times it's not. Sometimes it's about psychology. And in this short episode, I'm going to talk about the real reasons why a lot of people ignore ads and scroll right by them, and what you can do to try and stop them from scrolling and really get their attention so they stop and pay attention to you. Now, before we jump into the content, if you guys are looking for some help with your ads, whether you want some one-on-one coaching and consulting, which I think is the best way in the world to learn ads, or maybe you want somebody to run your ads for you, or maybe you want some help with your AI as it relates to your marketing and your business. For any of that stuff, just go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and we can set up a short Zoom call, and I would love to connect with you. So I want to jump in and really focus on why people scroll past your ads and how you can stop it. So let me ask you a question. As you've been on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere really, any other social platform, have you ever had a time where you were scrolling and you noticed before you even read something, you could just tell that it was an ad? It just, for whatever reason, it screamed that it was an ad, like a spammy ad. You had like an instant reaction, even without reading it, maybe just barely even seeing it. You could tell, ooh, spammy ad. Let me just go right past this. What is that? That's psychology. It's you being smart too. And it's why a lot of people may be skipping your ads as well. You know, when people decide whether to skip or not, they don't sit there and think, should I skip this or not? I mean, it's all happening typically in a millisecond or maybe a second as they're scrolling past. And they're just quickly deciding without even thinking about it, whether they're going to pay attention or not. So typically within 1 to 2 seconds, maybe 3, usually about 1 second, they're deciding whether to stop or pause the scroll. And a lot of times somebody's brain does filter, hey, does this look like an ad or content? And if it looks like an ad, some people will never stop and pay attention no matter what. Others will, depending on what it looks like. So it does depend on the person. And they're going to look at different places. Some people just look at the headline and that's it. Some people look at the first couple words of the ad copy and that's it. Others might look at your video or your image, and then others might kind of scan a couple or all of those things depending on the person. But regardless of what they're looking at, typically, it's only going to be a second or two at the most before they decide to keep scrolling or stop and pay attention. So the main reasons why people skip ads, first of all, if it just screams ad, like if it's just a spammy sales pitch, that is a great reason to skip an ad. Why do people hate ads? Because most ads, probably 99% of ads, suck. They're just spammy sales pitches. Buy this, we're awesome, everybody else sucks, and buy this. And that's why people hate ads. They're just scammy, spammy sales pitches. And people skip them all the time because of that. Other reasons why people might skip, they've seen it before. Maybe they've seen your exact same ad 20 different times. It's way too repetitive. It's way too recycled. Another reason why they skip ads, they can tell that your image or video is like stock photos and it just looks way too manufactured and plain and just too stock photo-ish and not really real, genuine, or authentic. A lot of people will skip ads because of that. And then the other reason why I think a lot of people skip ads is because the ad will ask before it gives. Click here, buy this, do this, before giving any type of value, or even, even if you don't give value, which you should, but if you don't, without having any kind of curiosity or empathy or connection with the person looking at the ad, it's just, hey, do this, click here, buy this, get this deal. Now, I'm not saying to never do that because, of course, depending on your situation, you could have a funnel where some ads are going to be like that because it's part of a strategic plan. But you should have other ads that aren't like that do have empathy, that are connecting with people, that are giving value, that are not just asking for something, but you're giving value before you ask for a damn thing. Yet most people don't do this when they run ads. It's all about them and it's all about buy this, click here, do this. And that's why a lot of people skip. So now that you guys know why so many people scroll right past and skip, how can you stop it? How can you lessen those chances of people scrolling past so they pay attention to you? Well, there's a bunch of different things you can do. First and foremost, okay? You want to have at least some of your ads where you're actually giving some kind of value. You want to educate, you want to entertain and differentiate all within your ad and before you're asking them to do anything at all. That can make a huge difference for some advertisers. Does it always work? No. But if I had two ads in front of me and one gave value and one didn't, I would absolutely bet on the one that's giving value because I've seen that work way more often than the other types of spammy sales pitch ads that most people hate. So take a look at the ads that you're running right now, or maybe you've run in the past, or you're thinking about running, and I want you to ask yourself a question. And you got to be honest with yourself on this. Does the ad that you're thinking about running actually help somebody in some way? Does it give some kind of value? And value can come in many different forms. It could be teaching somebody something, but it could be just asking a really important question that gets somebody to think or think of something in a different way. Another form of value might be inspiring somebody in some way. Another form of value might be completely different. It might be just making somebody smile with some humor. So there's a lot of different ways to give value. It's not just about learning. You could be an e-commerce shop that sells t-shirts and still give value, because you're helping people feel good about what they wear, how they look, the message they send to others, maybe put a smile on their face, maybe differentiate versus all the other plain clothes that are out there that a lot of people wear. There's lots of different ways to go about it, but you got to be figuring out how you can give value in your ads before you ask for anything. And that just might help stop the scroll. Some other things you can do are you can try and create more ads that don't look like ads. Don't use stock photos. Literally, you should try and have it look like a post. And that can have a much better chance of people stopping and paying attention. And then if you give value, then you've got an even better chance in many situations. So try and have things that look very native to the platform, that don't look like ads. And those things can help stop the scroll. Do they always help stop the scroll? No, of course, nothing is 100%. But if you're doing that, I think it gives you a way better chance of having a better chance of success. Also, another great thing you can do to try and stop the scroll is by having some great hooks. And you want to have them in all the important places. So what is a hook? A hook is something you say or do that gets somebody's attention. I'll give you a great example. Let's say you were going to do a video ad. And the first 5 seconds of your video, you're saying, hey, this is so-and-so from whatever company. You've done an intro. There is no hook there. The first 3 to 5 seconds, if you don't hook them, they're just going to stop watching. However, if you said something that was important to your ideal audience at the very start of your video, that is a whole different story. it applies to them and pertains to them. It's not about you. That's a good hook. And so whether you're doing a video that you want to have the first 3 seconds, what you say, be a hook, a headline should be a hook, not just buy this or do this or check this out, but make a headline a hook, as well as the beginning of your ad copy. Because again, like I said earlier, people look at different things of an ad. They scan different spots of the ad to determine whether they're going to scroll or not. If you have a hook in all of those individual places, then no matter where they look, you've got a hook there that may apply and pertain to them. That could make a big difference. And speaking of difference, the last thing I'll mention is differentiation. So many people run ads that look and feel like all the other ads they see, because typically they look at the other ads to try and see what kind of an ad they should run. The problem is when you're doing this, a lot of times you're copying ads that are failing, that are losing money, and then you're just going to do the same thing. Instead of doing that, figure out how you can differentiate, not only with how your ad looks, but with what it says. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about what you sell, but it's about who is selling it, who they're buying from, and how you're different and better than other options. And then more importantly, how that difference actually benefits your customers or clients. And if you have that, if you can say that or portray that in your ad, then there's a good chance that they might not scroll right past it. You could also use other things like pattern interrupts, bright colors, like there's a lot of different ways to go. But just remember, if you're not testing some of these strategies, then there's a good chance people are just going to keep scrolling past your ads, and that's not going to help anybody. So to summarize, when you have an ad, I want you to look at it and ask yourself, does this look like something that my audience would share, or would they just scroll past it? And I want you to ask, would you stop and watch the ad in your own feed if you didn't know who it was? Would you stop and watch it or no? And if not, you want to humanize it. Less generics, less stock visuals, less boring, and more real, more authentic, and less looking like an ad. So great ads don't have to feel like ads. They can feel like something worth paying attention to. You got to understand that psychology. That can make a big difference. And as always, just a reminder, it's always important to point out that every business is unique. Results can vary. There's no guaranteed outcomes. So always keep that in mind. I hope that was helpful, you guys. It's really important. Make sure you're testing this stuff. Obviously, there's plenty of variables and lots of things that can affect success. This may be one that moves the needle for you, or it might be something else. You want to always keep testing. But with that being said, episode 443 is in the books. Thank you guys so much for being here. Got another great episode coming for you next Tuesday. Until then, have a great week, and I'll talk to you on next week's episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.